morning with the Way to Wonderful Life. Our Way to Wonderful Life message for today is titled Fabulously Rich. Fabulously Rich. We want to go over the top with this. Just as Jesus tells us that with our faith we can move mountains into the sea. He didn't tell us to move mountains into the sea, but he told us to go over the top, to activate our faith, to awaken that power and intelligence and spirit of God within each and every one of us. So we're going to talk about money, and we're going to talk about how we can get more of the good that we want to experience in our life made available to us. So we know that everything that we can desire, everything that we can think about for ourselves is just an idea away, that the ideas are spiritual coin that will open those doors of opportunity, that open that avenue of receptivity in our mind that draws to us all the people, places, and things necessary for us to have it. But we must focus on what it is that we want, and we must focus on the truth that it is the Father that doeth the work. That is, we take that into our mind and realize that the Father is Spirit, omnipresent, everywhere present, omnipotent, all power, and omniscient, all intelligence. Then we know that whatever it is that we desire, that desire is of the Father, and that the spirit of intelligence and power within each and every one of us will respond to all things that come to us in the most receptive way in order for us to realize the greater good. I'm no longer surprised at people's reactions to wealth. Sometimes, just to hear the word rich will get people so defensive. It seems as though there is a continual mantra that the rich are greedy, but seldom do we hear that those who blame the rich for their woes are envious and jealous. I cannot imagine anyone not wanting to be rich, and I am certain that those who are envious and jealous of the rich would not turn down $1 million if it were offered to them. If I could list the number of very rich people who do wonderful, beneficial things with their money that make the world a better place for all of us, I wouldn't have time on this radio program to list all their names. Wealth doesn't come to people by chance, but by consciousness. And even those who receive inherited riches, it comes to them by consciousness. And this is the truth that all too many people who rant about the 1% seem to ignore. We must take it into our mind that if we don't have what we want, what we need, what meets our requirements, and what gives us that extra opulent lifestyle that we long for, then we must build the consciousness to have it. Most people do not understand consciousness, and therefore they don't understand a prosperity or wealth consciousness. It is not about getting all the money one can get, but about doing and being and enlarging the capacity to take in more of the abundance that God has supplied us with in the universe around us. If we resent the rich, or if we are jealous of the rich, or if we are envious of the rich, then we shall never elevate our consciousness beyond what it is now. The mastermind Jesus declared, all that the Father hath is mine. Mine to do with what I choose if I am choosing in alignment with the nature of the Father, God's Spirit. And it is this alignment with the universal aspect of God that gives us the opportunities and ideas that provide for us the way in which we can enjoy more of the all that God has created. But we must understand that it's God that has created it. Take into our mind and realize for ourselves that God is the good, that God has created all that is necessary for us to live the joyful life, the wonderful life, the abundant life. And the key to life, the Lord's Prayer, Jesus tells us, you give us this day our daily bread. And that you is the Father, which Jesus said is Spirit, not a spirit, but omnipresent, everywhere present, omnipotent, all power, omniscient, all intelligence. Once again, I want to repeat that. Spirit, you give us this day our daily bread, but it must work through our consciousness in order for us to realize the increase. All that God is to do for us, God must do through us. And God can't work through a negative mind. So we must bring into our mind a positive energy that draws to us like a magnet the greater things still that we are to have, to do, and to be, and to enjoy. Now, here's an example of the mindset that obtains more of the abundance that is available. These are the words of the actor Bradley Cooper. He writes, or he said, "I just want to get better. That's basically what it is. I really want to just keep getting better and better and better and better." There's literally no difference in my mindset from when I was a student. So think about that mindset. I just want to get better. That's basically what it is. I really want to just keep getting better and better and better and better. So it is this inner determination to get better that also gets those things that come with getting better, including wealth and peace of mind and the feeling of being alive to life. And that's the truth for everyone. That's the truth for everyone. There is no lack in the universe, but there is a great lack of the number of people who believe that there is no lack in the universe. For so many of us, we have allowed ourselves to feel the limitation of our past or present state of our affairs. It is this feeling connected to lack, connected to poverty, connected to limitation that causes these things to persist in our life experience. We must broaden our awareness of wealth, of riches, of an abundance of money, if we are going to enlarge our capacity to have more, to be more, or to do more. Amazingly enough, I found something inspiring in the New York Times real estate section on May 1st, 2015. What caught my attention was the use of the Bible verse, Hebrews 3:4. Hebrews 3:4. And in that Bible verse, we can see the consciousness of the person that bought this home. So let's look at this New York Times real estate section. It said a sprawling area on the 53rd floor of 157. Now, 157 is this magnificent high-rise residential building in New York City that's opened up, and all manner of people have bought condominiums there. It says a sprawling area on the 53rd floor of 157. The sky-piercing condominium that has attracted demigods of international business and finance, sold to a mystery buyer, one seemingly versed in the teachings of a much higher power, for $30,683,372.50, and was the most expensive closed sale of the week, according to city records. The monthly charges for the 5,475 square foot sponsor unit number 53B, which was combined early on with 53C for a total of 5 bedrooms and 5.5 baths, are $10,408 a month. The purchaser, who was brought to the deal by Rafael De Niro and Danielle Sevier of Douglas Elliman Real Estate, was shielded, like many of the building's buyers, under a limited liability company. This one is named Hebrews 3:4, an apparent reference to a passage in the New Testament of the Bible that reads in part, "For every house is built by some man, but he that built all things is God." For every house is built by some man, but he that built all things is God. Now, some people will look at the purchase price and be intimidated. Others will look at the monthly maintenance charges and be intimidated. But those in the right spirit will look at Hebrews 3:4 and realize that it is our consciousness of God's power, intelligence, and spirit that builds all things. And in this consciousness, we realize that not just the buyer received a greater good, but that all those involved in the building, the selling, the furnishing, and the maintenance of this property will be enriched as well. It is being in tune with this universal nature of God that will cause us to increase our wealth. As we realize our own increase in riches, it is a natural consequence that we enrich others. And this we do every time we put money into circulation. Now, although one might think this purchase was made by a minister or someone in a faith-based organization, it wasn't. The statement derived from Hebrews 3:4 is the truth for everyone and for all time. God is the creator of all things, yet God must work through the consciousness of mankind in order to create the material things that bring a greater comfort and joy to life. That bring a greater comfort and joy to life. So let's look at these words from the mystical Ernest Holmes, who understood this principle that Jesus was giving us in a greater degree than so many others. And let's just realize what he's telling us here. He uses the word ignorance, but that's not to say we're stupid. It's just to say that we haven't got the awareness yet. He writes, ignorance traps us mathematically, and we have to free ourselves from the thraldom of the thought that something is big or little, infinite or finite, until at last we see there is one God over all, in all, and through all. And shall he not clothe himself in garments of light, in what we call big, and seem to be obscure in what we call little? Is there more life in an elephant than there is in a flea, because the elephant is bigger? I don't think so at all. And we have to come to realize the atoms and the stars, the infinitesimal, the little, and that which seems to be of great magnitude, the big, are but different expressions of the one that is neither little nor big, and that each one of us must exist here for the expression of the eternal creator, the mind of God. And so each and every one of us can take it into our mind and start realizing that that's one of the human failings. You know, when Jesus said, be in the world but not of the world, that was a broad statement that covered so many things. You know, so many people use that as almost like a negative, but it's not a negative. There's nothing wrong with being in the world, but we need to elevate our thought to something higher than what the world has discovered and what the world is aware of if we're to get the greater things still. So the world still thinks in terms of big and little. And so many times when people pray, they pray thinking that, oh, this is such a big thing that only God can do it, but not realizing that they're thinking it's so big and that it's so difficult and that it's so tremendously hard for them to have it, that they're putting something into their mind that God cannot work through. Remember, let's go back and understand the truth that God can only do for us what God can do through us. Remember, every time Jesus healed someone, he said, do you have faith? And when they were healed, he said, thy faith hath made thee whole. Not my faith, but thy faith. In other words, God must work through our own faith, our own consciousness of the realization that in God there is no big and there is no little, there is no crisis, there is no emergency, there is only what is. What is. So as we take that into our mind and we realize that with God all good things are possible, and get out of our mind that something is big or little or something is more difficult or harder than other things, then we start realizing those greater things still in a better way. But we must foster and nurture that consciousness, and we do that by getting better and better and studying. You know, just as we learned a few weeks ago in one of our lessons, one of the students of Emma Curtis Hopkins would study the truth, and just in that studying of the truth, putting our mind on the truth, focusing on the truth, her life became a wonderful life. Her life became a wonderful life. Her children were prospered. Her household was prospered. That all things come to us when our mind is stayed on God. That's why Jesus said, keep your mind stayed on God, on the good, and then all things will be added unto you. And get over the big and little. There is no big or little in the kingdom of God. There only is what it is, what it is. There's no greater life in an elephant than there is in a flea, because life is mind, it's intelligence, it's spirit, it's power, and that is not inside our physical body. It is what our physical body is embraced by. So let's go look at those words once again from the wonderful actor Bradley Cooper. He says, I just want to get better. That's basically what it is. I really want to just keep getting better and better and better and better. So when we think about that getting better and better and getting better, we realize that we must lift our awareness, cultivate and foster and nurture the idea that God desires all of us to express more of life, and that expressing more of life means that we're going to express more the livingness, the givingness, and the forgivingness of God. We're going to express the livingness and doing those things that we desire to do and having the resources to do those things that we desire to do. We're going to be a part of the givingness, and we go back and we look at that $30 million condo and we realize how many people were prospered by that transaction. The people that built the building, all the workers, all the construction people, the electricians, the plumbers, all those people, the designers. And then when you start thinking about the broker that sold it, the brokerage company, the real estate company that sold it, that was prospered. And then all the people who will pay for they will buy the furnishings for. You know, you're not going to buy a condo for $30 million and go out and find used furniture for it at yard sales. So all those people are going to be prospered as well. So it was God working through the consciousness of those people, and that's why they gave credit to God. They gave credit to God in those words that said, you know, that God builds all things. You know, it was God working through the consciousness of Thomas Edison in 1879 to invent the light bulb. It was the same God that worked through the consciousness of Steve Jobs and his associates to bring forth the iPhone in 2007. Was God intelligence available to create the iPhone in 1879? Of course, the answer is yes. But mankind didn't have the consciousness or the awareness for God to work through them at that time to build something that technologically advanced. So we know that everything comes from God, that with God all things are possible. In God all things are known, because God is infinite intelligence. Intelligence, not intelligent, but intelligence, far beyond anything our human mind can fully conceive of. For those who want to possess great wealth, a mental equivalent or consciousness of great wealth must be cultivated. It will never be achieved by looking outside of ourselves for our enlarged capacities. Only from within can we embody the awareness that with God there is no big or small, no lack or limitation, and we must create this awareness in our own consciousness and realize that whatever it is that we have now, we realize it through our consciousness, and in this realization, we can provide for ourselves and all those around us that more and more good that makes us feel fabulously rich, that makes us feel fabulously rich. Just say to yourself, good and more good is mine, and ever-increasing good is mine. Everywhere I go, doors of opportunity are open. Everything I think about draws to me the right ideas that will guide me and direct me to do those things that are mine to do to increase that good. That good and more good means more and more happiness, more love, more peace, more prosperity, more money, more of all things necessary to realize the good. But let's get our mind off the big and the little. Let's get our mind off what was and get our mind on what is, and realize, just as those people that bought that $30 million condominium, that God is the creator. So it is the Father that doeth the work, Jesus said, and the Father is Spirit. The Father is Spirit, and that means that we must worship Him in spirit and in truth and realize that God is the creator, God is the intelligence, God is the power. In God's mind, all things are understood and all things are known. And let that be known. For us to be known in our mind, we just must put ourselves in alignment with the good, with God, and all things will be added unto us, including that feeling of being fabulously rich. And so it is. Amen.